Have you ever wondered why some people seem to live charmed lives while others struggle constantly? What if I told you that the answer isn't luck, connections, or even hard work alone? You see, there's something happening right now as you listen to these words. Your heart is beating roughly 100,000 times today. That's not just blood pumping, that's pure electromagnetic energy radiating from your chest, creating a field that scientists can measure up to 8 feet around your body. Think about that for a second. You're literally walking around in your own energy bubble every single day. But here's where it gets fascinating. And this is something most people never realize. Ancient cultures from Tibet to Egypt weren't just building monuments and writing stories. They were documenting something profound: the technology of human consciousness. They discovered that this energy field I just mentioned, it responds to your deepest feelings and beliefs. Have you noticed how, when you're genuinely grateful, opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere? Or how fear creates exactly what you were afraid of? This isn't positive thinking or wishful dreaming. This is your biofield, your personal energy signature, literally communicating with the quantum field around you. Modern neuroscience now confirms what mystics knew thousands of years ago. Your brain doesn't just receive reality, it actively constructs it. Every thought you think fires neural pathways that release chemicals, creating the very emotions that shape your next experience. The ancients called this living prayer. Today, we're discovering it's actually quantum physics dressed in spiritual language. So, what's really happening in your life right now? Living the miracle. Right now, as you're hearing these words, something extraordinary is happening inside your chest. Your heart isn't just pumping blood, it's generating an electromagnetic field that's literally 5,000 times stronger than your brain's. Think about that for a second. The organ we associate with love and emotion is actually your body's most powerful energy broadcaster. But here's what nobody talks about. Your heart has its own nervous system. Scientists call it the heart brain. It contains over 40,000 neurons, the same type found in your skull. This means your heart is literally thinking, processing information, and making decisions independently of your mind. Have you ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be right, even when logic said otherwise? That wasn't your stomach talking. That was your heart's intelligence speaking up. The ancient secret hiding in plain sight. Let me share something that completely changed how I understand reality. In 2019, researchers at the Institute of Heart Math made a discovery that would have made ancient mystics smile knowingly. They found that when people practice heart-focused breathing, just 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, while focusing on their heart rhythm becomes coherent within minutes. This coherent state doesn't just feel good, it literally changes the information your heart sends to your brain. But here's the part that gives me chills. This same breathing pattern appears in ancient texts from completely different cultures. Tibetan monks, Sufi mystics, Hindu practitioners, they all discovered this rhythm thousands of years ago. They called it different names, but they were all accessing the same physiological state that modern science is just now understanding. Were they just lucky guessers? Or did they understand something about human consciousness that we're only rediscovering now? The language your body speaks fluently. Your heart communicates through a language older than words, the language of feeling. Every emotion you experience creates a specific electromagnetic signature that radiates from your chest. When you feel genuine gratitude, your heart rhythm becomes smooth and coherent. When you're stressed or angry, it becomes chaotic and erratic. But here's where it gets fascinating. This isn't just happening inside your body. That electromagnetic field extends up to 8 feet around you. You're literally broadcasting your emotional state to everyone nearby. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately sensed tension, even when nobody was speaking? You were picking up on the collective heart rhythms of everyone present. This explains why some people just feel good to be around, while others drain your energy without saying a word. It's not personality, it's electromagnetic compatibility. The hospital room miracle. Let me tell you about Dr. Roland McCrady's research at a cardiac care unit. They were studying how healthcare workers' emotional states affected patient recovery. What they discovered defied conventional medicine. When nurses practiced heart coherence techniques, focusing on feelings of care and appreciation while working, something remarkable happened. Patients' heart rate variability improved, even when they weren't consciously aware of the nurse's emotional state. The coherent heart rhythm of one person was literally influencing the physiology of another. One particular case involved an elderly man who'd been unresponsive for days. When his daughter, trained in heart coherence, sat beside him and genuinely felt deep love and gratitude for their relationship, his vital signs stabilized within 20 minutes. The monitors showed his heart rhythm syncing with hers. The medical staff called it unexplainable, but ancient traditions would have called it natural law. Your heart's secret superpower. Do you know your heart begins responding to events before they happen? Research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences showed that the heart reacts to emotional images 4 to 7 seconds before they appear on a computer screen, before the brain even processes them. This suggests your heart exists partially outside of linear time, accessing information from what quantum physicists call the field of possibilities. It's as if your heart is constantly scanning potential futures and preparing your body for what's coming. Think about the last time you had an inexplicable urge to call someone, only to discover they desperately needed to hear from you. Or when you suddenly changed your route to work and later learned about an accident on your usual path. That wasn't coincidence. That was your heart's temporal intelligence guiding you. The frequency of miracles. Every morning at 4 a.m., Tibetan monks begin their practice with a technique they call heart meditation. But unlike what most people think meditation looks like, they don't empty their minds. Instead, they fill their hearts with specific emotions while visualizing healing light emanating from their chest. Western researchers studying these monks found something extraordinary. Their brain waves synchronized with their heart rhythms in a pattern that rarely occurs in ordinary consciousness. In this state, their immune function increased by 65%. Their stress hormones dropped to nearly undetectable levels, and their cellular regeneration accelerated dramatically. But the most remarkable finding was this. When multiple monks practiced together, their individual electromagnetic fields began resonating at the same frequency, creating what scientists termed a collective coherence field. Within this field, individual healing accelerated exponentially. This explains the power behind group prayer, collective meditation, and even why music concerts or sports events can feel so energizing. When hearts sync up, miracles become ordinary. The Water Memory Experiment. Dr. Masaru Emoto's water crystal experiments revealed something profound about the power of focused intention. When people directed specific emotions toward water samples, love, gratitude, anger, fear, the frozen crystals formed corresponding patterns. Love created symmetrical, beautiful structures. Anger produced chaotic, fragmented shapes. Since your body is 70% water, imagine what your dominant emotions are creating at a cellular level. Every feeling you sustain is literally restructuring the molecular composition of your physical form. But here's the part that changes everything. This restructuring isn't just passive. When your cellular water holds the frequency of gratitude or love, it becomes a template that influences the water molecules in people around you through resonance. You're not just changing yourself, you're broadcasting a blueprint for transformation to everyone in your environment. The missing piece of modern life. Ancient cultures understood something we've forgotten in our rush toward technological advancement. The heart was meant to lead, and the mind was meant to serve. Modern life has reversed this relationship, putting the analytical mind in charge of emotional decisions. But consider this. Your brain processes about 126 bits of information per second consciously. Your heart processes over 40,000 bits per second unconsciously. Which do you think has access to more complete information? Every day, you're making hundreds of choices based on incomplete mental processing when you could be accessing your heart's vastly superior intelligence. No wonder so many people feel disconnected from their purpose and power. The 3-minute reset. Let me give you a practical technique that bridges ancient wisdom with modern science. I call it the coherence reset, and it takes exactly 3 minutes. Place your hand on your heart and breathe slowly. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. As you breathe, recall a specific moment when you felt genuine appreciation or love. Not the idea of it, but the actual feeling. Hold that emotion while maintaining the rhythmic breathing. Within 90 seconds, your heart rhythm will shift into coherence. Your stress hormones will begin dropping, and your nervous system will switch from survival mode to growth mode. But here's the key. The electromagnetic field you're generating in this state carries information that influences everyone within 8 feet of you. You're not just healing yourself, you're contributing to the healing of your immediate environment. The ripple effect. What if I told you that every time you practice heart coherence, you're contributing to a global field of consciousness that's measurably affecting life on Earth? The Global Coherence Initiative has placed sensors worldwide to measure the planet's electromagnetic field. They've discovered that when large groups of people simultaneously practice heart-focused techniques, the Earth's own magnetic field becomes more coherent. During global meditation events, synchronized prayer gatherings, or major collective experiences of compassion, these sensors register dramatic shifts toward greater planetary coherence. Your individual practice isn't just personal, it's contributing to the collective evolution of human consciousness. This ancient truth That we're all connected isn't just spiritual poetry, it's electromagnetic reality. Every coherent heartbeat you generate sends ripples through the field we all share, making it easier for others to access their own heart intelligence. Science meets spirituality. Picture this. You're sitting in a coffee shop, scrolling through your phone, when you notice something strange. The moment you look up from your screen and really observe the people around you, I mean truly see them, they start behaving differently. The barista suddenly smiles, more warmly. The person at the next table makes eye contact and nods. It's as if your attention itself activated something in the room. You might think I'm being dramatic, but there's actual science behind this feeling, and it's far more profound than you realize. In 1909, a physicist named Thomas Young accidentally stumbled upon something that would shatter our understanding of reality forever. He was simply trying to prove that light behaves like a wave by shooting it through two tiny slits. What happened next defied everything we thought we knew about the physical world. When nobody was watching, the light created beautiful wave patterns, exactly what he expected. But here's where it gets mind-bending. The instant he set up a detector to observe which slit the light went through, the wave pattern vanished. The light suddenly started behaving like solid particles, as if it knew it was being watched. Scientists spent decades trying to debunk this. They created more sophisticated experiments, used different particles, even tried to trick the quantum world by observing indirectly. Every single time, the same thing happened. The act of observation changed physical reality. But here's what really gives me chills. They discovered it wasn't the measuring device that caused the change. It was the conscious decision to observe. When the detector was on but nobody was looking at the results, the wave pattern remained. The universe was literally responding to human awareness. Now, bring this home to your own life. Have you ever noticed how when you're in a great mood, green lights seem to appear everywhere, parking spots open up just when you need them, and people are unusually helpful? Or flip it around. On days when you're frustrated, doesn't it feel like the whole world is conspiring against you? Most people dismiss this as selective attention or confirmation bias. But what if it's something deeper? What if your consciousness is actually influencing the probability field around you, just like in that quantum experiment? Think about your morning routine. The moment you wake up and check your phone for bad news, you're setting your observation filter. You're literally programming your consciousness to look for problems, stress, and chaos. And guess what your day becomes filled with? Long before quantum physics existed, indigenous cultures understood something profound about the observer effect. The Lakota have a saying, Mitakuye Oyasing, meaning all my relations. But it's not just a nice sentiment about connection. They understood that everything in reality exists in relationship, including the relationship between the observer and the observed. When a Lakota warrior entered the forest, he knew his presence changed the forest, and the forest changed him. This wasn't primitive thinking. It was sophisticated understanding of consciousness as a creative force. Here's something no self-help guru will tell you. Your attention isn't just focused awareness, it's creative energy in motion. Every time you consciously direct your attention, you're conducting a quantum experiment on your own life. Dr. Lynn McTaggart discovered something remarkable when she studied group intention experiments. When people collectively focus their attention on the same outcome, healing a person, cleaning polluted water, even reducing crime in a city, measurable changes occurred. Not sometimes, consistently. Right now, as you're listening to this, your consciousness is set to a particular frequency, like a thermostat in your home. If it's set to worry, you'll notice every potential threat around you. If it's set to gratitude, you'll spot opportunities and synchronicities everywhere. But here's the game changer. You can adjust your thermostat in real time. The moment you consciously choose to observe your life through the lens of possibility instead of problems, your quantum field begins reorganizing itself to match that frequency. It's not positive thinking. It's quantum mechanics applied to daily life. The power of the heart. Close your eyes for a moment and place your hand on your chest. Feel that rhythm? That's not just blood pumping. You're touching the most sophisticated energy generator in your body. Your heart creates an electromagnetic field so powerful that NASA's satellites can detect it from space. But here's what's really fascinating. Your heart starts beating before your brain even forms in the womb. Think about that. Your heart existed first, like it knew something your mind would need to learn later. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt whether the energy was tense or peaceful? That wasn't intuition. That was your heart reading the electromagnetic signatures of everyone present. You're literally sensing their emotional broadcasts. Ancient cultures called the heart the seat of wisdom, not emotion. They understood what science is just discovering. Your heart has over 40,000 neurons, its own nervous system that sends more signals to your brain than it receives. Your heart is actually thinking independently, processing information about your environment faster than your conscious mind ever could. When you feel that sudden urge to call someone who turns out to need you, or when you inexplicably change your route and avoid an accident, that's your heart's intelligence, guiding you through invisible information fields. Every heartbeat is broadcasting your inner state to the world. What frequency are you transmitting right now? Lost wisdom rediscovered. What if I told you that some of the most powerful teachings about human potential were deliberately removed from the texts that shaped Western civilization? In 1945, a farmer in Egypt accidentally uncovered clay jars containing 52 ancient texts that had been buried for over 1,600 years. These weren't just religious documents. They were instruction manuals for accessing extraordinary human abilities. One text described something remarkable: the power to speak reality into existence through what they called heart knowing. But here's what's fascinating. These ancient writers weren't talking about positive thinking or wishful hoping. They described a specific state where you feel the outcome so completely that your nervous system believes it's already happened. Your body starts producing the chemistry of success before any external change occurs. Think about the last time you achieved something you really wanted. Didn't there come a moment when you stopped worrying about how it would happen and just knew it would? That shift you felt wasn't confidence. It was your heart accessing what these texts called the field of all possibilities. Modern neuroscience now confirms what these buried texts taught. When you embody the feeling of your desired outcome, your brain literally rewires itself to match that reality. Your electromagnetic field shifts, broadcasting a different frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. The question isn't whether you have this power, you do. The question is, are you using it consciously? Beyond the illusion, the matrix. Take a moment and look at your hands. Really look at them. What you're seeing isn't actually solid matter, it's 99.99% empty space, held together by electromagnetic forces. The atoms that make up your skin are mostly nothing, with tiny particles spinning so fast they create the illusion of substance. You're literally looking at a hologram of yourself. This isn't philosophical speculation anymore. Dr. Leonard Susskind at Stanford proved that all the information about what's inside any volume of space can be encoded on its surface like a cosmic hologram. What we perceive as three-dimensional reality might be projections from a two-dimensional boundary, similar to how a holographic image appears solid but exists only on flat film. But here's where it gets personal. If reality is holographic, then changing your inner state literally reshapes the projection you're experiencing. Every morning when you wake up, you're not just opening your eyes, you're booting up your personal reality program. Think about your dreams last night. While you were sleeping, your brain created entire worlds, complete with physics, people, and emotions that felt completely real. You didn't question the flying car or the conversation with your deceased grandmother until you woke up. What makes you certain that waking consciousness isn't just a more persistent shared dream? Ancient traditions understood this long before quantum physics existed. The Vedantic texts describe Maya not as deception, but as the divine play of consciousness. Like a master artist painting on canvas, universal awareness expresses itself through countless individual perspectives, including yours. You're not trapped in an illusion. You're participating in an infinite creative expression. The Gnostics had a different take on this same truth. They spoke of the demiurge, a cosmic architect that created physical reality as a kind of cosmic video game. But unlike modern interpretations that paint this as imprisonment, the Gnostics saw it as an opportunity for the soul to experience itself from every possible angle, gathering wisdom through contrast and limitation. Here's something that will shift how you see your daily struggles. What if every challenge you face is actually your higher self, designing the perfect curriculum for your expansion? That difficult relationship, the financial stress, even the health issue. What if these aren't random misfortunes, but precisely calibrated experiences your soul chose before incarnating? Dr. Michael Newton's research, with over 7,000 past life regression subjects, revealed something extraordinary. Under deep hypnosis, people consistently described a pre-incarnation planning process where souls carefully select their life circumstances, family members, and major challenges. They choose difficult experiences not as punishment, but as the most efficient path to specific spiritual growth. This changes everything about how you approach hardship. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you might ask, "What is this experience trying to teach the deepest part of me?" That shift in perspective isn't just therapeutic, it's a cheat code for the matrix of limitation. But here's the most profound part. You don't need to wait for death or enlightenment to access your expanded identity. Right now, as you're listening to this, you have what neuroscientists call non-local consciousness. Studies at the Institute of Noetic Sciences show that your awareness can access information beyond the constraints of space and time. Have you ever thought of someone moments before they called? Felt inexplicably drawn to take a different route that later saved you from an accident? Woken up with a solution to a problem you hadn't consciously worked on? These aren't coincidences. They're glimpses of your consciousness operating beyond the matrix of linear causality. The ancient Hawaiians had a practice called Ho'oponopono that demonstrates this beautifully. They understood that healing any relationship, even with people you've never met, begins with healing the reflection of that relationship within your own consciousness. When you genuinely forgive someone in your heart, you're literally editing the holographic program that creates your experience of them. Dr. Hugh Len, a psychologist who used Ho'oponopono to heal an entire ward of criminally insane patients without ever meeting them, proved this principle. By taking responsibility for the reflection of insanity in his own consciousness and healing it through love and forgiveness, the external conditions transformed. Patients improved, staff morale increased, and the violent ward became peaceful. This is your invitation to become a conscious programmer of your reality matrix. Every meditation session is like accessing the source code. Every moment of gratitude rewrites the probability algorithms. Every act of compassion upgrades the operating system of your experience. The mystics were right. You are divine consciousness temporarily pretending to be limited. But the pretending isn't punishment. It's play. It's how the infinite explores itself through infinite perspectives. And the moment you remember this truth, you stop being a victim of the matrix and become its conscious co-creator. So here's my question for you. If you discovered tomorrow that your entire life has been an incredibly sophisticated simulation designed for your soul's evolution, would you choose to exit the game or learn to play it masterfully? Because the choice to transcend limitation while remaining engaged with life, that's the ultimate spiritual achievement. That's how you hack the matrix from the inside out. The knowledge within. Right now, as you're listening to these words, something extraordinary is happening inside your body. Your heart is beating approximately 100,000 times today, pumping 5 liters of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. But that's not the remarkable part. The remarkable part is that every single heartbeat is creating a rhythm that's uniquely yours, an electromagnetic signature that has never existed before in the history of the universe and will never exist again. You carry within you a completely original frequency, and yet most people live their entire lives never realizing they possess something so rare, so powerful, that ancient civilizations built entire spiritual systems around understanding and harnessing it. Let me share something with you that changed everything for me. In 1987, a team of researchers was studying Tibetan monks who had been practicing a specific form of heart-centered meditation for over 40 years. When they measured the monks' brainwaves during deep meditation, they discovered something that shouldn't have been possible according to conventional neuroscience. The monks' gamma brainwaves, associated with heightened awareness and bliss, were 700 times stronger than ordinary people, even during their baseline resting state. But here's what really gives me chills. When the researchers asked the monks to generate feelings of unconditional love and compassion, their gamma activity increased by 8,000%. 8,000%. These weren't just spiritual experiences, they were measurable biological transformations happening in real time. Now, what if I told you that these same monks claim they didn't learn this ability from books or teachers? They describe it as remembering something they had always known but had forgotten. They speak of accessing a knowledge that exists not in their minds, but in what they call the wisdom heart, an intelligence that operates beyond thought, beyond logic, beyond everything we've been taught about how consciousness works. And here's the part that might surprise you. You don't need to spend 40 years in a monastery to access this same state. Dr. Rollin McCraty at the Institute of HeartMath discovered that when people practice heart-focused breathing for just 3 minutes, breathing slowly while focusing attention on their heart and generating feelings of appreciation, their heart rhythm becomes coherent, their stress hormones drop dramatically, and their immune function increases by up to 50%. 3 minutes. That's less time than it takes to make coffee or check your social media feed. But why does this work so quickly? Because you're not learning something new. You're remembering something ancient. Every human being is born with the capacity for heart coherence. Watch a baby breathe, and you'll see they naturally breathe from their hearts, not their chests. Observe how children respond to the world with their whole being. They don't think their way into emotions. They feel their way into understanding. Somewhere along the way, we learn to disconnect from this innate wisdom. We were taught that the mind should lead and the heart should follow. But what if we got it backwards? What if the heart was designed to be the conductor of the orchestra and the mind was meant to be one of the instruments? This isn't just poetic metaphor, it's biological reality. Your heart contains over 40,000 neurons, more than many areas of your brain. It produces more signals going to your brain than it receives from your brain. And here's the part that changes everything. Your heart responds to emotional information before your brain even processes it. Scientists call this intuitive intelligence, but ancient traditions simply called it wisdom. Think about the last time you met someone and immediately felt either drawn to them or uncomfortable around them before they even spoke. That wasn't your imagination. That was your heart reading their electromagnetic field and providing you with information your conscious mind couldn't access. Your heart was literally downloading data about their emotional state, their authenticity, their energetic compatibility with yours. This same intelligence that can read people instantaneously is also constantly scanning your environment for opportunities, synchronicities, and possibilities that align with your deepest intentions. But here's the catch. It can only guide you toward what you're genuinely ready to receive. And this brings me to something profound that most spiritual teachings miss entirely. The knowledge you're seeking isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you need to stop blocking. Every limitation you experience, every obstacle you encounter, every pattern that keeps repeating in your life isn't happening because you lack something. It's happening because some part of you is resisting the natural flow of wisdom that's always available. Let me give you a practical example. Have you ever noticed that when you're genuinely happy and grateful, solutions to problems seem to appear effortlessly? Or when you're stressed and worried, even simple tasks become complicated? This isn't coincidence. It's your heart's intelligence responding to your emotional frequency. When you're in coherence, you become a magnet for coherent experiences. When you're in chaos, you attract chaotic circumstances. The ancient Egyptians understood this principle so deeply that they built it into their architecture. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a monument, it's a consciousness amplification device. Recent studies using cosmic ray imaging have revealed hidden chambers that create specific acoustic frequencies. When people meditate inside these chambers, their brain waves naturally synchronize with the Earth's electromagnetic field, creating a state of expanded awareness that the Egyptians called becoming one with the divine. But you don't need to travel to Egypt to access this state. Your own body is designed as a consciousness amplification device. When your heart, mind, and breath work in harmony, you create an internal pyramid, a sacred geometry of awareness that can access the same expanded states the ancients achieved. This is why meditation works, why prayer creates miracles, why spending time in nature heals us, and why acts of genuine kindness make us feel so alive. These practices don't give us something we don't have. They remove the interference that prevents us from accessing what we've always possessed. Dr. Lynn McTaggart spent over a decade studying what she calls the field, the invisible web of connection that links all consciousness. Through hundreds of intention experiments involving thousands of participants worldwide, she discovered something that would have made ancient mystics nod in recognition. When people align their hearts and focus their intention together, they can influence physical reality at a distance. Plants grow faster, water becomes more structured, even random number generators become less random when exposed to coherent human intention. But the most remarkable discovery was this: the people participating in these experiments experienced profound personal transformations. By focusing on healing others, they healed themselves. By sending love to distant targets, they became more loving. By intending peace for conflict zones, they found peace within their own lives. This reveals something extraordinary about the nature of consciousness. What you give your attention to doesn't just change the world around you, it changes who you become. Every moment of your life, you're either reinforcing patterns of limitation or activating potentials for expansion. Every emotion you feel, every thought you think, every intention you hold is literally sculpting your future self. And here's what I want you to understand. The wisdom traditions weren't trying to teach you how to become enlightened. They were trying to help you remember that you already are enlightened. The Buddha's final words weren't "follow my teachings." They were "work out your salvation with diligence." He was pointing you back to the knowledge that lives within your own direct experience. Jesus didn't say, "I am the way." He said, "I am the way, and you can do everything I do and greater." Muhammad spoke of every human being as a Khalifa, a divine representative on earth. The Hindu traditions declare, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. You are the very consciousness you seek to understand. Right now, in this moment, you have access to the same intelligence that grows a tree from a seed, that heals cuts without your conscious intervention, that beats your heart without your permission, and that dreams entire worlds while you sleep. This intelligence isn't separate from you. It is you, the deepest, truest, most authentic you. The knowledge you seek isn't hidden in ancient texts or secret teachings. It's encoded in your DNA, whispered in your heartbeat, and available in the eternal present moment of your own aware presence. So, my question for you is this: what would change in your life if you truly trusted the wisdom that's already within you? What would you do differently if you knew that everything you need is already here, waiting for your recognition? Because the truth is, you've never been separate from the knowledge you seek. You've only forgotten how to listen to the teacher that never stops teaching, your own awakened heart.